Long ago, in the busy city of Ur, lived a man named Abraham, an ordinary man with an extraordinary calling. One night God whispered to Abraham, "Leave your home and family. Go to a land I will show you." God promised, "I will make you into a great nation. You will be a blessing to the world." Abraham chose to trust. He packed his life, gathered his family, and set out into the unknown. Though Abraham and Sarah were old and childless, he believed God's promise. He stepped out in faith, not knowing the destination, but trusting the one who called him. Abraham's story reminds us, faith is believing in the sunrise even when it's still dark. He didn't have a map, only God's promise, and that was enough. Abraham's journey began with a whisper, and that whisper still invites us to trust. Abraham and Sarah left everything behind and walked a long, dusty road. They lived in tents, moving from place to place, trusting God each day. The journey was hard, strange lands, new people, and many unknowns. Sometimes Abraham was afraid and made mistakes, like when he lied in Egypt to protect himself. But even when Abraham failed, God stayed faithful. God protected Sarah and reminded Abraham that his promise was unbreakable. Abraham learned to depend on God, not his own plans. The desert became a classroom for his heart, teaching him to listen for God's voice. God's love didn't depend on Abraham being perfect. Even when Abraham was afraid, God forgave him and led him back. The journey was about learning to trust, step by step. Abraham's faith grew stronger with every challenge. God's promise never wavered, even when Abraham did. Through mistakes and fears, God's love remained. Abraham discovered that God's plans are always better than our own. The road was long, but God was with them every step, and that made all the difference. Years passed, and Abraham and Sarah grew older, still waiting for God's promise. They had no children, and doubt crept in. One night, Abraham looked up at the stars, feeling alone. But God spoke, "Don't be afraid. I am your shield. Your family will be as countless as the stars." Abraham was honest about his doubts, and God welcomed his honesty. Under the vast night, Abraham chose to believe again. He trusted God, even when it seemed impossible. Abraham's faith shone brighter than the stars above him. The stars became a reminder of God's unbreakable promise. Still waiting, Abraham and Sarah tried to help God's promise along, and Ishmael was born to Hagar. But their plan brought trouble, not peace. God's timing was different. When Abraham was 100 and Sarah 90, God gave them Isaac, the promised son. Their laughter was proof that nothing is impossible for God. But then came the hardest test. God asked Abraham to offer Isaac as a sacrifice. Abraham's heart broke, but he trusted God, believing even the impossible, that God could bring Isaac back. At the last moment, God stopped him and provided a ram instead. God didn't want Isaac. He wanted Abraham's heart. Abraham's faith was proven real. He trusted God no matter what. The test showed that God's love and promises are greater than our understanding. Abraham's obedience became a powerful example of faith. God's plan was always to provide, not to take away. Abraham's story points to a greater sacrifice yet to come. Through every test, God's faithfulness never failed. Abraham's trust changed everything. Abraham's story isn't just ancient history, it's a story for us. He was ordinary, but his faith made him a friend of God. Abraham teaches us that faith isn't about perfection, but about trusting and getting back up. Courage is doing the right thing, even when you're afraid. God invites us to be brave, just like Abraham, and trust him with our own journeys. Abraham's story points to God's bigger plan. One day God would give his own son, Jesus, to rescue the world. Abraham was willing to give up his son, but God actually did it. For us, when you look at the stars, remember God's promise. God calls ordinary people to be part of his amazing story. He invites us to trust even when we can't see the way. Abraham's journey began with a whisper and ended with a blessing for the world. God is still whispering today, inviting us on our own adventure of faith. All we have to do is listen and say yes.